How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through on this Sunday. Going to go through some political stories here, top stories of the week. But this ICE thing does take priority, even though we are going to talk about other things. So let's give people a couple minutes to come in, and then we're going to actually go over these stories. Oh boy. Cool. All right, we're going to give it one more minute for people to come in. If not, just going to keep going with these stories. Hit the like button upon coming in. All right, let's get started here. Okay, this story right here on the screen is a very scary one. FBI raid the election office ignites debate over voting security and federal authority. Now, in the Constitution, it says that the actual states run the elections. It's not, even though the federal elections are ran by the state, there is no federal only election commission that just swoops in and take advantage and control over things. That's just not how that works. And they're actually raiding the offices for the 2020 election information. We know Trump was on tape asking for a very specific amount of votes so that way he can win the actual election in Georgia. Raffensperger, the actual Secretary of State, the person who actually administers the actual election in Georgia, and the actually the Secretary of State actually administers all the actual elections in all states. But in Georgia's very specific case, it was Raffensperger, who is a Republican in the state. Kemp, also a Republican. We heard the call where he was asking for a specific number of votes, asking him to go, quote unquote, go find those votes. Okay. Fonnie Willis did a very good job of getting convictions and actual testimony from a lot of people who was involved in that. But for some reason, but for some reason, um, a very specific reason that somebody's personal relationships came into the actual getting in the way of actually doing the state's business, which I thought was a bunch of nonsense because those people did that crime and they threw her off of being able to prosecute the actual case because she had a strong case, just like Jack Smith had a strong case for all the cases that he had against Trump. But Georgia actually put in a replacement prosecutor, and that replacement prosecutor decided to drop all charges against Trump and the rest of the people who's actually were charged. Now, that shouldn't have happened. That's the only reason why these offices are being raided, so that way they can go and find out the evidence that they have on the Trump administration, which is crazy. Let's go on to go.
Hey, MOT man, what's going on now? You're dead on the money. Insane, what's going on with that? Just insane. But they've let him walk. No one has put this guy guy in cuffs the way he needs to, the way he needed to be, but he has gotten away with that so far. He has gotten away with it.
And raiding the offices and having the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, on the scene while you're raiding the offices, crazy, crazy.
Unreal. Unreal.
Yeah, I mean, but what's happening right now is like in the real world, they can't win any actual elections, like the special election in Texas. Like, I don't know what he's going to try to pull off, but people are pretty mad at this administration and him specifically. Like, I don't understand what he think he's going to pull off, because I really think, as Mike V said before, that he's going to seize voting machines as soon as he loses in November, which I do believe that's the case.
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe he's definitely looking to do that as well. And as we see right now, almost every state, we're talking about from some of the reddest of red to the bluest of blue, Trump's people are losing. And then they're, and these are surprise upsets, as is that state Senate race that went down in one of the
Reddest of red.
reddest. I mean, redder than the devil's ass. Let's say the Trump endorsed people lost, and we haven't seen that in some decades down there, and that is a very that should be worrisome. I understand Trump and them are sitting back now saying, "Oh, okay, they won, no big deal, don't worry, we're going to keep moving, forward." But they have to be concerned, because that's a you start you start losing down in the South, Mississippi, these areas. You start losing there in these red areas. You've got a real serious problem.
Yeah, what's going on? Shout out to people who came through. Uh, Running on Song. What's going on, Shonda? What's going on? Being Jazzy Podcast. Brian Scholes. Wacker World. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, so it's like, so you have to understand what dangerous precedence this is. If there's something wrong with the actual election, they did 2 recounts. There's not a problem with Georgia. They did 2 recounts because Raffensperger had to order another recount, obviously after Trump asked for a specific level and number of votes. I mean, they did the count, and then they did a recount because it was within the margin of error. So that's a mandated recount, and then Raffensperger ordered another recount. So there was 3 counts of the votes in that election. And no one said that things were done improperly because Trump won.
Well,
Right?
well, the whole thing that's going on in Georgia now. I mean,
but Trump lost in 2020. He won in 2024. What
yeah.
happened? Like, it's the same. It's nearly the same administration that administered both of the elections. So how could you be rating just one office? Magically, the office that brought you up on charges, that's the office you're gonna raid? Come on, man. This just doesn't. It just seems kind of crazy.
It's total madness. But one of the big problems you really have there is this is not about the 2020 election that Trump is looking to mess up. It's not about the 2020 election. I think that's the cover story.
No. Yeah, for now.
For now, but really, what they're really worried about is they're worried about 2026 midterms and the 2028 general. Now, this is the real problem because Georgia is going to be You got Ossoff, back up for reelection in the Senate, and they don't want him to get reelected. And they're going into these specifically black areas, Fulton County, and looking
Yeah.
for a way to, and looking for us. People, I mean, people don't want to deal with this, but they're looking for a way to specifically find out who voted and how we can suppress and knock a lot of these people off the voting rolls. They're looking, the FBI, they are seizing this. They are seizing these ballots, or however you want to play it, so they can eliminate as many voters as they can for the midterms and keep these guys off. Indefinitely. They are really looking to X out a lot of people from participating, and these are primarily black voters. Black voters, because that number is going to be insanely crazy, and when we look at the midterms, when we look at what's going to happen, certainly in the elections in Georgia, Fulton County is going to play huge. Gwinnett and all these areas, it's going to play huge, massive, and that's going to be the difference. Potentially, what may be the balance of power in the Senate. Looking at how many seats are going to be in play, we're looking at places like Alaska and so forth that are in play now for the blue states, if you will, to or for blue, if you will, to win the Senate. And if that happens, Trump at that point, understands that he's going to get impeached. There's going to be some pretty, serious things coming down at the end of this year. They understand that. So the name of the game is get in here and just shut these guys down. That's what they're essentially looking to do, and that's what's really going on. This is not really about the 2020 election. He's talking that we had 61 cases at least that went into the federal courts that that challenged all of this, and they came up with nothing. They have nothing new now. There's nothing has changed since then. That was one. People don't want to say anything, but 2020 was one of the most closely watched elections in the history of this country.
Of the country.
And
Yes.
critically perused as far as votes and who.
Oh, I don't know what happened to the gong. He dropped in the middle. Oh,
It was extensive.
All right, there you go, the gong. You can pick it up. Go
ahead. No. So that's it. I'm just saying that's our problem. That's what is really going on. Certainly, for what Trump is doing right now. This is really about the midterms and moving forward, certainly towards 2028. So that's what
okay.
this is about.
So all right. So here's what I got on that. Having you said all that, dude, they pissed off a lot of whites. I don't think dude, like I don't see how even trying to remove the African American vote would work when you pissed off whites. Your base is white. Like, dude, you're down among white men, you're down among white women, you're down among Hispanics, you're down among Asians. Dude, you're down everywhere. Where are you gonna, dude? There ain't enough black people to go around that's going to actually make up for the whites that you pissed off in all these areas.
Yeah, but
there ain't enough. There isn't enough.
They're trying to play catch up wherever they can. These guys are making a grand mess of things, but this is what they're trying to do. I mean, this is the craziness that they actually have going on. When let's look at some of the recent elections that just happened in Minnesota itself, where he's in Minnesota, tearing the place out the frame. These candidates who are coming up for judgeships and other offices, they're winning at rates of 97 to 3%. I mean, these are incredible numbers that the administration is losing by. So he's pissing off so many people. white people. And let's be frank, when you're out there looking at this, you're supposed to be doing immigration. You're blowing away, you're blowing away citizens of the country. White.
What is happening?
And people across the world are looking at this. I mean, it's the
Looking
optics
crazy.
on this are horrific, and the president is trying to find a way, in some way, to try to spin this around, and he doesn't want to have to back up, because he has this very hardcore base that's still with him, but that hardcore base is not going to be able to carry him forward
No,
to electoral victory in these upcoming elections. They're just not enough of them. So that's
I just don't see how that's going to work, because if they're losing in red ass Texas, where is safe? I mean, because people know at this point, because now it's no longer quote unquote cool to be a conservative. Like, caping for conservatives right now, you look real crazy. Caping for conservatives right now in any way, given form or fashion. I mean, you could try to use the immigration issue, but the immigration issue was supposed to cover for all the other mess ups that he was doing. And now you
MOT,
out there killing whites? That
and
wasn't
they
part of the immigration thing.
and they messed up so bad. Now they are getting into the problem with being able to bear arms. Now they're
Yes,
pissing off the gun lobby and so forth. They're saying, hold on a
yes.
second. This man had a gun on him. He had a gun. You shouldn't have been carrying a gun. What, you saying that we don't have a right to bear arms? Now we don't have a right to bear arms. So you got to sit back and get
All right.
smoked, because I mean, now all of a sudden you're hitting at the very heart of where the conservative movement really,
Yes.
really kind of lays, especially with the gun community. And
Yeah.
unlike with Philando Castile, they kind of backed off on that. Now they're looking at, here's this white guy who didn't even pull his weapon but had his gun on him. So you can't come to a you can't come to a
Protest with a
protest
weapon,
with a
even though we had a whole Kyle Rittenhouse situation go on.
Kyle Rittenhouse ran up with one. Cops let him roll by and shot and killed somebody. Shot and killed a man.
Killed four. I mean, shot four people.
Shot
Killed,
4 people, but killed one. But killed a man. He
and
walked
that
off.
dude was let off,
He walked
walking
off.
around with a long gun at a
Cole
protest,
sweat. Cole swaggered off.
and in the same country, right? So it's like, okay, so let's go to this Renee Good situation, because I wanted to make sure that there was enough factual information in before I start talking about these cases. I'm ex federal law enforcement. So let me tell you, no other time, because I'm in El Paso, Texas right now, no ICE, no Border Patrol, no none of that stuff. And I've been driving around the city all day. I haven't seen not one of either, period. So why are they all in Minnesota? So it's like, all right, all right. So with this Renee Good situation, you should have watched the video. Well, not you specifically, but everybody should have watched the video by then, right? Okay. At the end of the day, as a federal agent, you have no business coming in contact with any civilian that is obviously an American citizen. As ICE, Immigrations, Customs, and Enforcement, I've never ran into those issues in a city. Now, they do hang out in courthouses and vacuum up people that way, the normal place where that's supposed to happen. But just going off into non-federal property and just engaging with the general public has never been their job. It has never been their job. And then you shoot somebody 3 times in the face. That's a skill shot. I mean, it's close range, but that's something that guy is going to have to actually explain in court. He doesn't have a case. I mean, he's enjoying the rest of his freedom while he has it
While he
at the
has it.
moment. Yeah. Well,
While he has it, because that individual is going to face the law at some point in time in the future,
yeah.
as we see things change, and he will be convicted.
Yeah. So let's go to the second situation, this Preddy situation. Okay, again, if you watched all the videos and all the angles of the video, because I'm assuming that you've done that, because I'm not following this assumption that you haven't seen it and you don't know what's going on. I don't play those type of games. I come with the yo ass should have been up to speed on this by now, right? So in the Preddy situation, okay, the actual Customs and Border Patrol. Now, this is very clear because the Customs and Border Patrol was supposed to go out to be as a buffer for ICE to be able to do their job. That is a legitimate mission. What's not a legitimate mission is engaging with protesters. That's way different than helping ICE serve their warrants because they're going to have to prove, or the guy who shot him, which they released their names earlier today. Let me pull those names up while we doing this. And it turns out both of these people are from Texas. Why are there people from Texas in Minnesota? What's going on here? Like,
pure insanity.
And I mean, because the Border Patrol is that wild like that, but that's why the Border Patrol really just isn't in anybody's city like that because they do act a damn fool, and especially out in the middle of nowhere, they do act pretty not not according to the federal law enforcement standards. Let's just say that, right? So you push a protester to the ground who's out there exercising their right to freely protest under the Constitution. Then you push the person down. Preddy helps the person back up, and then they surround him, and then they take his weapon away from him. Then he's over there on the ground. They remove his weapon, and then shots rang out. 10 shots. Dude, the way that guy's going to look to the medical examiner, and when they show those photographs in court, it's going to be unimaginably bad. Like,
when he looks at burn entrance gunshot wounds to the back of his head from up close.
yes.
Which means you were, and it's burnt, meaning that this was literally a double tap shot to the head, which we see in executions on a regular and consistent basis. And when we see a further up 10 shots raining up and down this man's body, as you look at it, it's the autopsy. It's, and this man himself is a nurse, so he was out there trying to help. Now, regardless whether people wanted to say, well, he was out there, agitating ICE the week before.
No.
And so on
Nagone, we're not even going to that.
Yeah.
I say this at this point: charge him with obstruction of justice and conspiracy to commit murder.
To me, if anything, it's definitely a conspiracy case, but which to me brings first degree murder in on it. But let's say you don't get that, it's at least a second degree murder charge there. But what happened with him? And I mean, you have some conservatives, and you have people like Rand Paul and others who are coming out here appalled by the madness that they're seeing, who are on the Republican side of the fence. And these are supposed to be some of your very conservative, very racist white folks who are coming out here looking at this, who are now horrified, who are appalled by what is going on here currently. So this is bad. And see, there's a bigger problem because now the federal agents are coming in. They're dealing with local police issues that they actually don't have a right to get involved in, where the state actually supersedes them. okay, supersedes federally in local policing matters, local policing situations. The local governments, the local police supersede the feds, which brings me to my next point very quickly. That's where Kathy Hochul here in New York, in my state, has now moved, and they're moving legislation through the state legislature right now as we speak, to stop ICE from co-opting local law enforcement and coming in. It's a bill, and that is here to ban ICE from deputizing local officials to work with them, and that the local officials have to have precedence, over them, and that's going to basically shut ICE down for you stepping into. This passes in the state legislature here in this state. That's going to shut ICE down from literally coming in and insinuating themselves in local demonstrations and so forth that are local community oriented, that the police would have that the police would be jurisdictional over. That's a whole other legal issue, and this is going to be state and ratified by the state. If they pass it through the state legislature, of which I'm quite confident that this will be done. So states are already making this move and are doing that, which I think is a brilliant move by Kathy Hochul, which really is going to put a big halt, or at least put a barrier up to where ICE is not going to come in and feel comfortable. And now if they try to do that, they're now acting outside of New York state law, and they might be able to be either arrested themselves or removed. So, so this is bringing a whole new set of issues that are coming in on the
I
legal
think they're
side.
screwed either way.
I
think they're screwed either way.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing that's not litigated yet. Even if they are out there for a legitimate reason, the operation had nothing to do with engaging with protesters. So
this didn't have anything to do.
It didn't have anything to do with
that's why
they can't say that ICE was serving a warrant on XYZ specific person who was illegal, and the Customs Border Patrol, who they called out there on the Metro Surge, which I think was an illegal operation, but we will talk about that later. I think you should do nothing with any of that, but just wait till Trump gets out of office, period. But the actual people was one. The last name of the guy is, hold on a second, where was it? Wait, hold on a second. I just had both of them here. Yeah, one guy was 43, one guy was 37. They both were from Texas. Why is there people in Texas from the Customs and Border Patrol? Because right here, I'm in El Paso. There ain't nothing here. You would think there'd be ICE on every single block, given that the actual Mexico ain't that far away. No, there ain't nobody here. Nowhere.
Well, it's also showing you that their reasons for being in these states are actually not about really immigration. It's really more about political control and slowing down the blue states, and actually this is a way of interrupting or getting in the way of their electoral process before any of this other stuff happens. So under this ruse, under this guise, and they're quite serious about it, because they released a bloodthirsty, murderous force out here to pacify you. And
I just can't understand how these people don't think that there's going to be something to be said about this. I say charge them as a group. I mean, I know Metro Surge is illegal. I'm not going to go into why it's illegal, because you've never seen the Custom Border Patrol act like this before. Now, the people who's supposed to help the feds out are the local police. So you just can't call in your own private force, skipping over all types of chain of command, to have your people engage with protesters, because that's why they came out there. They didn't come out there to help them serve warrants or to serve as a buffer, as the actual mission stated. and they're going to throw those people under the bus specifically for those reasons. Because if you're not out there on the actual mission, because there are actual orders that you sign up for when you're supposed to get additional pay and all that kind of other stuff. It's not really hard to go over, but for the sake of conversation, they were not in the position to do the stuff that they were supposed to do, and they wouldn't. They're not on federal property. Like I said, if they was at a courthouse, there was on some type of federal property, maybe a military base, it'd be totally different. This is like out in the middle of the city. You push the person down. You have to actually be able to state why you initiated that contact. These are questions they're not going to be able to answer under oath.
Well, you have to understand they have not been designed for that. As I was arguing with some other
there's
people,
no training for that either. There's no training for it.
As I was arguing with some other people previously, folks don't understand. This is something that we have not seen before. This is a new force that has been created, really has been created underneath Homeland Security and all this craziness that came up back, during the Bush administration and so forth, which brought this forth that we have not seen before. That's a federal Gestapo army that has been raised literally and funded heavily by the president to come out here and to attack American citizens. That is what we have. We have not seen this before. So when we sit down and say, well, the state police will come out here and they'll get the orders and they'll handle this. No, man, you don't know what you don't understand what has been unleashed here. That's
Trump
why
has a stranglehold over these people's fundings in these police departments and everything else. Like people don't understand how much help every local police department, like federal, like I wouldn't say federal law, but like state police and everything else gets from the actual federal government. A police department cannot run its normal operation with the tax money that they get. They get millions of dollars worth of help from the actual federal government, especially for a city the size of Minneapolis.
And think about the other cities such as New York and let's say Boston, Philadelphia, and so forth. Let's look at these other municipalities. So you're looking at a very big problem, and these people don't technically have these powers. That's why people like Governor Hochul are passing laws against these people, because they know that that local law enforcement is jurisdictional. It's jurisdictional. It is not federally run. You have the power to run your own municipal police forces and so forth, dealing with public dealing with public issues that can happen as far as protests and so forth. So these people are not, they're not even doing ICE work. They're coming here and tearing people out of the frame to say, listen. And you saw this one crazy ICE agent who was sitting in this van that went viral. If you speak against me, I will shut down your voice. This wild, insane Latino who was sitting in there making. A lot of these Latinos come from totalitarian type governments that they ran from, so they
do want to kiss the ass of their government. Too bad they're just part of the wrong sect.
Exactly, and they've come here, and have bought into this madness as well, because running from the countries where they came from that were more totalitarian. But here we are, and so there is a legal angle against them, and that's the fight. That's the fight that we're in, and this fight is going to be in the streets. So when I listen to a lot of these people sitting here, prognosticating and all this crap from their computers and talking all this BS, they're useless, man. At the end of the day, this is a street thing.
Yeah, but think about how crazy you look now. If you're like one of these manosphere related PhDs, or if you're some, disaster teacher, like you have to keep being on this road forever. You have to make it look like black women being in charge was better than this, which wasn't even true, by the way. But yeah, that's what it is. It's just that we're in a position now to where white on white crime is the actual message of the day.
See,
Their government is out of control.
this is the thing. White people are starting to see it. White women who were sat back here, yeah, we're down with all this. You white females are nothing to these people. All right, they can literally take a gun, split your wig, say you were gay or whatever, keep it moving and not think about your ass. So you're nothing out here as well. So and these gray boys who are not a part of what these people say you should be a part of, splitting your wigs as well. So white folks are starting to look at this, and they're looking at their freedoms of speech, their free, their right to bear arms, and all this is all coming under question right now underneath this. And
Yeah, because he's burning all the bridges because ICE was supposed to be out there. No, the Mexican wrangling that they were doing was supposed to be so that way Renee Good and Pretty could not actually be obstructed in any other way. But these two people are dead precisely because of Trump's actions.
and that's the piece that these people don't want to sit back and deal with. You
Yeah.
know, this is what's going on. These Manaspherian guys have come up. You are useless. You're of no value. You are
None.
nothing but a diversion. That's all you are. You're
Yeah.
nothing. You have
Yeah.
nothing to say. You have nothing to add to the bottom line. You're foolish, stupid, okay, unprepared for what's coming down, and you have no value. You have no value, but entertainment and a diversion from what's going on. That's the best you've got. You've got nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, the thing was, if they could find their Crispus addicts in the middle of this shit, they would have already done that. but they don't even have a black person that they could blast first. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but yeah, that's
but these guys come with a Christmas addict. Oh, Jesus! These guys
they
are.
couldn't
These
even
guys
find a black guy to blast first.
Come on. I look at these guys and I excrete on them diarrheically. They're yes, I did say that. Yes, I did. As horrible as it sounds, it's exactly what's appropriate for them. They're nothing. So we have to look at what's really going on, and this is a real street game, and you cannot be middle. There's no middle of the road here.
No,
that's the thing too. There is no middle of the road.
There are no libertarian podcasts talking about, oh, my liberties are being trampled. No, there's none of that going on. There's none of that.
There is no middle of the road. There's no middle of the road.
Like they didn't know that the government was okay with you buying all those firearms. They were okay with you supporting the gun lobby. They just quietly took that dude's Second Amendment away from him, and he complied. And then they blew Campbell's soup and top ramen out the back of this dude's head on camera, and those people are still at work.
And everybody has seen it.
And we're just now, a week later, well, a week and 1 day later, finding out who did it.
And this is all over the world.
Yes.
I'm talking to people down in South America. This is going on in Europe. The Italians over there in their Winter Olympics are like, get ICE the F up out of here. They got no say up in this piece. Okay, yes. They can't get involved. I mean, this is Italy. This is Italy, the former state of Mussolini. All right, the fascist. Okay.
Yeah.
So, of which you have Maloney up in there right now, who is their prime minister, who is who's very much I would say a disciple of people like Mussolini back in the day, and still she had to sit back and knuckle to what her people are saying. So this is throughout Europe. we're seeing this even throughout South America, certainly Brazil, and so forth. That I have very strong connections with what we're hearing from there, and so on and so forth. This is the optics on this is horrific,
Oh yeah.
and it's costing us. It's costing us, and
And both of them are on tape. That's the good thing about it. It's both on tape. It's very unambiguous. There is no other side here to be said. They both got killed when they definitely should have been alive. For the first case, Renee Good, the actual officer did exactly what he was supposed to do. But in the face of that, you have to realize that that's why these people got to have cameras on, so that way shouldn't have needed his private phone to capture anything. Once he captured her actual license plate, that's it. The interaction is over. It's like, okay, so all federal law enforcement receives the same pretty much training, unless you specifically have to go and engage with actual civilians. There's additional training that's actually needed. Like like me, stationed on Buckley Air Force Base. Most of the actual dorm, before they actually built one on Buckley Air Force Base, was on Garrison Fitzsimmons, an Army post, and the base housing was even further into Denver on the old Lowry Air Force Base. That's about 30 minutes away from Buckley, and we had to patrol those areas because that's where base housing is for people. So we had to go through additional training on how to actually engage with that, and that training is on top of all the other training that we have to do. Dude, that was like 6 weeks of training on top of like the 24-hour break training and all these firings that we have to do of all these weapons we got to get qualified and certified on. Dude, it was nearly impossible to do it from a military standpoint. You're
MOT,
talking about a civilian standpoint? They didn't go through no training like that. I know they
MOT.
did.
The ICE agent who shot Miss Good in the face split her wig, literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was a agent and was with ICE for years. So this was not some rookie guy that just came off the street with a $50,000 advance. He was with them for quite some time. The Minnesota Police Department did over 1,000 arrests last year, or a couple of thousand, or close to that. Over 900 weapons were seized. Police arrested a lot of people, took weapons from people, arrested, locked people up. Not one officer shot one person up close for doing that. That's professional policing. These animals came into that area in less than a month. They killed 3 people. Okay, under the same time, and these are people who were now, of course, being demonstrators. We're not talking about baseline criminality or crime in the streets, which is certainly more dangerous. So that's what we're talking about as far as professional policing and what these guys are doing, which is this is not policing. This is Gestapo tactics to kill and hurt and maim, to bring about terror and fear. That's what this is. That's what this is. Police work. How do you get all these guns off? You're arresting people, guns being taken off the streets, people getting arrested, and so forth. And you don't have these killings, but now all of a sudden these guys come in a month's time, people are getting yeeted. Okay,
Yeah, man, you got a bunch of Ace Venturas out there with loaded firearms, just out there, just doing stuff that they don't need to be doing. It's crazy.
so
I don't understand it. Like your Mexican safari is killing more whites than it is locking up Latinos. How did that happen? How? Right?
they've lost control of this thing. They know that, and they're losing control of the narrative as well. And that's why you see, Trump saying, "Oh, pretty family, I love the family and all this, and no, but still, I want to back up my people." But they grab Bongino. I mean, excuse me, not Bongino. Excuse me. The other short little Danny DeVito looking like clown up in there. Bovino, who was there, tearing folks out the frame. He's out of there. So they moved him on out. So, basically, they're looking to try to see if they can kind of change things there. And regain the narrative, but other people still going to get killed, and these killings are really unjustified. So this is it's just going to get worse. That's what people have to look at. This is going to get worse. Things will get better at some point, but it's going to get worse before that happens.
It's crazy. So they bought all these weapons. They tried to characterize the left as the people who was going to take their weapons. They characterized the left as the people who they needed to arm up, be armed up against. And now we're in a situation where it's unequivocally that you guys are the enemy, as much as the enemy as anyone else. Right? So, okay, so what do you do at this point?
MOT, like I said, you're going to see a lot more people coming out. People don't want to talk about the demonstrations that are out there. I have a friend who's out there, fraternity brother, who's out there, who lives out there, and he was telling me about the 15, 20,000 people demonstrating in the square there in Minneapolis. That was not even played on the media. You didn't even see that. So they're trying to keep a lot of this calm.
Oh, no. Like the media is still, and I mean still, trying to run interference for the actual Trump administration. You have to understand,
unreal.
We are actually being demonstrated why the media needs to be fair and open and not owned by any other corporation. It has to be its own thing. It has to be a nonprofit organization, and you have to tax entertainment journalism at nearly 100% after $100,000, because entertainment journalism is a threat to all civilized countries. There is no real reason why people at Fox News who don't provide anything make $20 million a year. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, it's that is insane talk, but that's exactly what's going on because they're more of news entertainment. They call them news entertainment. They're not even
you have to bring back the fairness doctrine. You have to get rid of Citizens United. Like, dude, it's nothing but like 5 things you need to really get rid of to clean all this stuff up.
Well, certainly Citizens United, without question. Certainly that's got to be brought back. The fairness doctrine, without a question, without a doubt, has to be brought back.
Most certainly. Most certainly it should be.
Those two have got to be, but there's got to be a whole new set of laws to come in after all this is done, and I think some of these state legislatures and others are going to start to, bring up some laws through their states to see to it that you don't have a potentially rogue federal force that was raised that we've not seen before. This is not like we went back in the 1960s where we were integrating, the University of Alabama, and and had those, the black students to come in there, and then you had the Governor Wallace of the state to sit down and say, hey, listen, we're going to stop, integration from coming through, and out-of-state troops, and then the federal troops came in and superseded what was going on at that university to bring those students in and to integrate that school under some very, 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 very difficult circumstances. But that was done there. But you didn't have an ICE or something like that was designed to function absolutely differently. That kind of situation this is something new. This is something new. And even more terrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean, because now it's part of history. The people who actually came for your guns were, again, because they came for your guns after Hurricane Katrina too, when they kicked you out of that city. Nobody talked about George W. Bush taking their guns away from all those people and kicking them out of New Orleans. Again, it was already demonstrated to you before. The Republicans will come and take your guns. Yeah, you really think that transgender in sports and Mexicans was just gonna float this entire administration? Nah, dude. They still had like a lot of stuff that they wanted to do after that. That's why I dismiss when people try to make the transgender issue look like it's some existential threat, or this whole immigration issue, which isn't an issue at all. because the only people who complain about immigration are non-working class people. I don't know working class people who the Latinos are going to be taking their jobs away. And if it's an HB1 situation to where nobody is actually complaining about the HB1 situation because they're not working class people. Like I'm not trying to fight for the jobs of like picking lettuce and like warehouse shit, unpaid, chicken farm type. Dude, what are we talking about here? These people do jobs that people literally don't want to do. Now, I do want them to get paid a fair wage, and I do want those people locked up if they engage in any type of wage theft. But other than that, dude, listen, man, a lot of people just ain't going to work around here. That's just the issue. They're not.
Even the president knows that. He knows that you have to have these people in here. He understands that. Well, we have to give them a right way to come in
Listen,
and
listen, man,
we
I
already
did a
have
lot of
people.
steel for Trump. Listen, man, I did a lot of steel for Trump. Take a wild ass guess who's on them actual hotels that he was building over them years. Nothing but white immigrants, exclusively white immigrants from the from the countries where his wife come from and stuff. But immigrants nonetheless.
Well,
That guy
well,
was always screwing over people.
that has been the case. When I was, I remember when I was in college and I was working with the union, and I used to get these awesome summer jobs because I was a part of the Glaciers Union, and certainly throughout the early and mid '80s and all this, the big white group coming into New York that was illegal immigration were the Irish and Poles. And they were the ones on these construction sites. They were the white Mexicans, if you will. Um, during that period, of course, some things have changed, and I don't want to get all into that. But yeah, we saw, we saw an awful lot of white immigration coming here and do that left, right, and center.
Okay. So let's do this story right here, because what we just talked about was crazy enough. But let's go one step further. Then this dude come in the door claiming that George W. Bush and how he messed up in Iraq and all that. Let's read this story. Let's read this headline. This headline is crazy. Trump opens Venezuelan oil trading up to more companies. What? What? I thought Maduro was a drug kingpin. Now he just like, look, we're just gonna open up these people's oils to be traded by other people. Unreal.
But people were telling you from day one, this is not about Maduro and drugs. This has
Yeah,
nothing to do with that because if you really were looking at the major drug issue and the drug problem, you wouldn't even be talking about Venezuela. You'd be
yeah. You be
looking
talking about
at
Mexico
countries. You'd be talking about Mexico and Colombia. You'd
and
be looking,
China.
you'd be looking there, and not even so much China, but if we're looking here in this, if we're looking for this type of issue here in this part of the hemisphere, those are your major players. But but we knew that from day one. For those who were on top of this, certainly I was, and you were, MOT and others,
Yes.
who were certainly looking at this, understood this was a oil grab move
Yes.
in this hemisphere. But we understood how difficult that situation could actually be. Um, for us to kind of run another country because we're not going to come in and how did Trump say we're not going to come into another we're not going to get involved in nation building and all this kind of stuff, and we're not going to be invading countries and trying to take over. That's exactly what he's doing here, and the big oil corporations even backed off on Trump on that. No, man,
Yeah, I mean, because they
we're,
don't
we're
want a
not going to
whole
get
bunch
involved.
of
Yeah.
crude on the market. Like, why would I mean,
And,
you would destroy their domestic production of oil, and that's gonna like get them jobs up out of there.
and just to try to go in there and try to do that is going to be a very difficult situation there as
Yeah,
well,
let's go to the
politically
super
and on the
chat here.
ground. So
Empress Sports Channel. Okay, Yes, a lot of people are begging for the Bush administration to come back because there was less. I mean, it was more targeted um, criminality, but at least you can understand it. Like, like George. Well, you know what? He did use the gay marriage issue in order for him to get a second term by putting it on the ballots all across the United States. Now he did do that. He did do that.
Yeah, it's true.
However, he didn't have the feds out here blasting his own people out the frame. He didn't have that. He didn't have that.
No, he didn't. No, he
I mean,
didn't.
he had his thing, the Iraq War. The United States military was a buy and hold strategy, so that way all the military industrial complex people can make a whole bunch of money off of the situation. Happened for damn near 15 years. Okay, that's what happened. The United States military, those troops that people put those yellow ribbons on their car for, was the buy and hold strategy so that way the military industrial complex can make a lot of money. They took the anger over 9/11 and they went straight into a place that we didn't need to go to. That's what happened. And even that corruption pales in comparison to what's going on right now. Pales in comparison. Trump
Pales,
didn't,
pales.
Bush, Bush didn't come out with some crypto grift to try to get people to you know, donate money to him. It, it unjustly, and it's like, dude, we are so far gone.
Incredible! It is incredible! It is incredible! Incredible! And he's made over $1 billion on this already. It's
Yeah. And here's another thing that they're not doing. Remember how Doge was supposed to save all this money and people were supposed to get this $2,000 check? Like, whatever happened to that? And it's like every time you look around, there's always one grift to cover up another grift. Now you got this Epstein file dump of 3 million records that's supposed to cover up for the Pretty and the Renee Good situation. Now he's looking at attacking Iran. Dude, it's like every move wrong, we got to keep doing it more wrong to cover up for the other wrong that just happened. And it's like,
he doesn't have a coherent strategy. He didn't come in with one. He never had his whole thing was, yeah, we're going to come in, we're going to do immigration, we're supposed to stop inflation, anything else, guys? You know, that's what he ran off. And hey, I'm the last white man in America who's really running for you Rushy white guys to come and support me. And that's all that was. And
okay, well, here's something else that I need to cover real quick.
And please keep me out of jail. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So the reason why your food prices are going up, a lot of these conservative states are confiscating these semi trucks with frozen food on them. They're confiscating those trucks if they belong to immigrants. They confiscate the trucks. They don't even allow the trucks to go back to the company. So the food on board just spoils. Now, there's a lot of money that be made from the state by, auctioning off these vehicles, truck and trailer alike. However, in the meantime, you're going to pay a hell of a lot more money for things that happen because of it. And people need to understand that. Like, dude, most of the stuff that people don't get, like, and it's not just 3% for one thing. It's 3% per hand that this stuff exchanges because it's 3% probably times 5 or 6 places. You got the manufacturer, the person who picked, the person who transport, the person who unload the transport, the person who stock. That's 3 different hands. That could be anywhere from 15 to 33% increase in your actual food costs because you want to stop the people who normally deliver food from doing it. And for all of these, failed Black Americans, FBAs, who don't participate in the process at all, you would think these people would be having those jobs and they'll be rolling in and taking those jobs. They don't do that. They're not even trying to do that. I don't think the Bushes are coming back at all, Empress. I don't think the Jeb Bushes are coming back at all. I mean, it would be a time because they're on a turn type thing, but they're going to do something much worse because you're going to have MAGA going against establishment Republicans for a
Yeah,
primary,
yeah.
and that will be a civil war.
You've got to let that fight go on, because that fight is going to come down, and that's going to be a
Yes,
bruising, vicious, grizzling battle between those savages. So you have to let that go on, because quiet as it's kept, it's starting already. So that is
I like
something
Jeb Bush, but
that,
Jeb Bush got a lot to go through. I mean, because if Jeb Bush would have ran when and won when Trump actually did win, we would be in a better situation overall. But Trump won, and we just are where we are. Wacker Word, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's going on? What's popping? What's up? What's
Oh,
up,
oh,
guys?
chilling.
well,
Oh,
what's going
chilling.
on, brother? What is going on?
What's going on? Yeah, long time, long time.
Long time, brother. Long time.
but
For real.
but to a degree, I'm enjoying this because I remember during the Biden administration where all these, $5 online conservatives was talking about, oh, the economy this, the economy that, you know, making these false statements about how the Biden administration has ruined the economy and
Yeah.
how jobs are being lost due to the
Yeah.
Biden administration, when the reality is that the Trump administration have destroyed more jobs than Biden ever done. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So
We're looking at, I'm in the, I'm in a hiring industry, if you will, and I looked at our last quarter's job numbers, and even though the books are cooked, they tried to cook up at least 50. They said 50,000 jobs were created across the country. 50,000. That's what we're talking about. 50,000 jobs.
but these same individuals who was talking about jobs during the Biden administration are not screaming jobs right now.
No.
It's so disingenuous, man.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and
Yeah.
they're trying to run their scam, but see, it can only run so far. It can only run so far. This thing it's got a terminus point. It's got a terminus. Every administration has got to deal with this, and these guys, the rubber's meeting the road right now, and these guys are not. They're skidding all over the place.
Right.
And you have a bunch of incompetent. You have a DEI administration.
Yes.
You have a DEI administration, and these guys are not ready for prime time. They're not.
No,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. UII, unqualified, incompetent, and inexperienced.
not.
And inept. You got to put inept in.
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, going to when it comes to Venezuela, right? The issue with Venezuela,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to change the topic for a bit, but when it came to, the U.S. illegally capturing Maduro, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What's this agency's called? I think, wow. There was an agency, like an international agency, right? That switched intels, who made a report and stated that there was no proof that Maduro, or that Maduro was working side by side with any type of gang members or drug dealers. Now,
Yeah.
remember,
You can prove that. It's especially if you put all the would-be evidence at the bottom of the sea.
exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there was an official report by the intelligence community, the intelligence community, who made an official report stating that there was years of investigation that they've made in Venezuela and even within Maduro's administration, and they found no evidence of Maduro having any ties to drug dealers. What they found was that certain individuals within his administration was acting alone and was, doing some corrupt stuff, getting money from dope deals, but that was certain corrupt individuals. But there was no ties. There was no evidence where they found any ties to Maduro. So therefore, And remember, that was the main reason or the main excuse that Trump used for illegally capturing Maduro. But when the intelligence community have made an official report saying there's no proof of any ties between Maduro or any drug dealers or any of these gang members, right? After an official investigation was started, then Maduro, you can say, has been kidnapped by the United States government. It's a kidnapping.
Yes.
Well, you know, he definitely has. But also look at this. Like MOT said, they didn't leave any evidence for these people when they started blowing these folks out of the water.
Exactly.
I mean, and I was looking at Al Jazeera and watching them very closely because they were interviewing these people and they were blowing away regular folks.
Exactly.
Like ICE is shooting regular people up in here. They were blowing away regular people in there, you know, who had their own trawlers, fishing trawlers, that they, you know, who were making a living for their families and so forth, who were getting killed. I mean, that's what these guys were doing. This was a big cover story. These are high crimes on the high seas. I mean, this is what's going on and what you're talking about is unbelievable. We have not seen anything.
We engaged in piracy.
Piracy.
We engaged in piracy.
I mean,
We took an oil tanker. Like, could you imagine like the United States Navy just pulling up with those guns and be like, yeah, man, could you just come round the back? Round the back? Like this, where are we going?
This was a straight. Remember guys saying this was a straight jack. We jacked him. This was a jack. I'm like,
it was a jack. Yeah.
This was a jack.
It was a whole jack move, man. Listen, Nagone going back to like 80s New York slang. You got jacked.
You got jacked.
No, man, it was like Minister Society, man. We're supposed to be brothers. Give me a double burger with cheese.
And give me them rims too. Yeah. And to add on, right, when Maduro first got kidnapped, that's what I'm going to call it, kidnapping.
And
his girl too. What did she do?
Snatched her up, and she was calling these guys out on what they were doing. She was out there just calling them out on this.
Exactly. You have people on the internet, patting Trump in the back, saying that Trump did a good job. Now the people in Venezuela won't be poor anymore. But hold on for a minute, because if they've done their research, they understand exactly how the country of Venezuela actually became poor or became impoverished, or how the economy actually collapsed. And it was mainly due to Trump placing sanctions on Venezuela's resources in 2019, in which Venezuela lost so much money that they couldn't even been able to actually import, basic necessities such as rice and what have you over time.
I mean, and we've been undermining, that economy for a while, even when Chavez was in there. So Trump is not unique in undermining, the Venezuelan state.
Right.
But he certainly has played a huge role in certainly further harming them. And that's just what's going on. Yeah.
You're right. Ever since the Hugo Chavez days, we've undermined Venezuela. Hell, I'll even go as far as to say I think that we caused Hugo Chavez to be assassinated.
Well, we tried to coup that government a couple of times and they stopped it. We've been in there, doing our dirty work for quite a while.
Exactly. Yes. So past administrations, even before Trump, place sanctions on Venezuela,
certainly,
but the sanction that Trump placed, in my personal opinion, did even more damage to Venezuela's economy, in my personal opinion.
Well, when we look at the facts, it's all been pretty bad, but looking at what this guy's done since he's come into office and what he's done has been outright, it's just a raw it's a raw gangster move. It's raw gangster. I mean, it's just a gangster move. So it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, technically right, ethically not needed, but you got to win this case. So what happens when you don't win this case in New York?
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
you do have to, and you have to give a good reason as to why you came in there, an incredible one, of which you know, if you really start to get into the meat and potatoes of this, you don't have a really good case on that. But
I mean,
you know,
you could use the Panama guy as an actual guidepost, but there was lots of history there with that. There's no history with Maduro with the fentanyl thing that they're doing.
Right.
Like, it's like his incompetent ways that he normally does business was not supposed to be the federal government putting suits and cases on people. It was
Exactly.
supposed to be something totally different. And it's like, look, the reason why the feds never hired these local police officers from a lot of these precincts is exactly what happened with the Brady situation and exactly what happened with the Renee Good situation, which is the reason why most local police are just disqualified unless they have a super clean record from going to the feds, period, because of that. So now he turned the most qualified law enforcement personnel into the most hated law enforcement personnel, taking people from Texas Border Patrol, sticking them up in Minnesota where they're killing white women and white men on streets. Doesn't make
Uh-huh.
any sense.
madness.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And when it comes to this, you know, Renee Good. Am I correct when it comes to her name? Renee Good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad with names, right? When it when it comes to her shooting and these claims talking about how she ran some officer over with a car, it's like, oh really?
No.
Come on,
Very
man.
easy. Very easy. Just charge them with obstruction of justice and conspiracy to commit murder. And
Right.
it doesn't matter whether you get the case or not. Just have them come up to court, spend a whole bunch of money on an attorney, completely destroy their actual credibility, and actually make them watch the video because they clearly didn't watch it before, and make them
Exactly.
answer some questions. That's all.
Exactly. Like the
And
reason why I was talking about it, and I'm sitting there, I've watched the video from different angles, and I'm
Yeah.
asking myself, where's the proof that this officer had got ran over? Where's the proof?
there is none.
That's proof of
And
internal bleeding.
Right.
there,
Right.
there is no proof. And,
Exactly.
and that's their problem. That's why they're trying to whip up a story, and they try to hit it with a cover story for her being a terrorist. That's why they're
Mhm.
going after. That's why they're going after her. Her partner.
Yeah.
Wife or whatever.
She's under federal investigation right now.
So they're trying to whip up some type of story, to really to castigate these folks because they don't have anything in the video. When you go over that piece by piece, slow motion, and really break it down, does not bode well for their case. It does
It
not.
doesn't. It doesn't.
And in fact, it looked, because this individual came in and shot her 3 times. One she took in the leg, another one she took in the abdomen, of which she would have survived. The last shot was the headshot. So she was already moving away from him while
Yeah.
this man was firing into this car, and then ultimately ran up on her and put the gun to the side of her head and blasted
Exactly. Yeah.
and blasted her in the temple. So
Yeah, she was
that
already
was still
making
tragic.
that right turn and moving away from the guy,
Yeah.
making the right turn, and then he blasted it.
Yeah.
Continues to blast at her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't want to be that guy because like the way he just walked off, didn't try to administer no aid, and you know that they came up with those laws and rules in place after the actual George Floyd situation. And,
Right.
like I don't know why you would go out there acting like that and think there's going to be absolutely no consequences for it.
Exactly.
Well, this is our like I said, when they bring this to a courtroom, when in the future, when they bring this in, it'll be a couple of years before But when they bring this in front of a courtroom, it's going to be pretty much lights out.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's
Yeah. I really think it's going to be lights out during the congressional elections this November. It's going to be lights out for the GOP because
listen, all the numbers are coming in. All the numbers, the Gen Z, the young Gen Z generation, and some of these young millennials, they've already stepped off. We know that. You're gonna have you're gonna have your hardcore Xers and some boomers who are going to try to hang in, who are going to really try to hang in there. But as far as the young voting public coming out, it's over. It's over.
How do you defend any of this? Like most of this stuff is based on the fact that conservatives cannot be held responsible for stuff. But at the end of the day, if you look making people look crazy out here, which they are, I don't know how that even works. But it's just okay. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to pull a New England Patriots and Atlanta Falcons type situation. where for no reason there's a power outage, but there's power on. Obviously.
I think that's what they're going to have to resort to because
they got to.
The blue tsunami that's coming down, and we already are seeing some of this, as we've seen in some blood red states that have Democrats winning at this stage at the state level. And the state level, we're looking at the same type of numbers that you're going to be looking at for the federal level with respect to Congress. This looks very bleak, and the president knows it. His crew knows it. A lot of people are panicking because they're starting to see some of us are going to be going to jail in a couple of years if we don't turn this thing around. We're going to jail. There's no doubt. And yes, some of these people definitely need to be locked down. And they're going to have to pull something. They're going to have to try to pull something. They're going to have to try to pull something. Let me read the
super chat real quick. At Black History Forever on the first day of Black History Month. $2 super chat. GOP is done. Yes, most of these cooler wars. Like, how do you have cooler wars after two white people got killed on camera and they're not going to jail? And here's the other thing. The local people don't have access to Preddy's body nor Renee Good's body. They don't have access to it. None of the crime scene, nothing.
That's crazy.
And it happened within their state. This is nuts.
The chief of police of Minneapolis, they were saying, well, how come you didn't get a hold of this? You didn't get a hold of this body. What happened? He says, we never got it. The feds grabbed it. They took all the evidence. I've been cut out.
That's crazy.
And he's sitting up there pissed. He's sitting up there on the news in a full uniform regalia, sitting up in there saying, I am the chief. I'm cut out. I'm out of there. I'm out of this. So I don't know what happened because we don't have any evidence. Where have you seen this before? Where have you seen this before?
It's not even a shooting. It's the cover up. It's like if the state don't have, the state medical examiner has not seen the bodies. What is going to be there to see if they're not going to investigate it and they're not going to give the information over to the state to investigate it? What is that? What the hell is that?
That's crazy. That's crazy. And can I say something? Can someone please fire Kristi Noem?
But hold on one second. Before we get into that, which is really key, of which her head is on the chopping block. It actually is. But let's just say, in the Kennedy assassination, where Kennedy had his head displayed wide open for everyone to see, even the local Dallas, coroners and so forth, even they had a chance to to get a hold of that situation. They were in there. Now you had that the state was involved with that, and this is a presidential killing. Now we're looking at somebody who, locally here, with this ICE around, your local police are cut out of that. MOT, you have to explain that one to me.
What status is his body going to be in when they get access to it?
You got to explain that one to me. Oh my gosh, that's the real. Wow.
And that's the problem. It's that you have a situation where the federal government at this point, they're not respecting the local or state jurisdiction. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, but
no, it's insane.
It's insane. But with that says, I do have to go. I got something going on. So it was good talking to you guys, man.
Hey, listen, Happy New Year to you, my brother. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Oh, Happy New Year, guys. My fault. My fault. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys.
Indeed.
All right, cool, man.
Indeed, man.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at this poll, Ronan, it's going to be My Pillow versus Amy Klobuchar. So
it's not even going to be close. It's not
going to be close.
It's going to be 90. It's going to be 90-10 or something like. It's going to be she will be in the 90s.
And it wasn't going to be close before, but right now he's in a bad position where he have to come out and actually defend his stuff if he can. But he has a lot of money, so he's likely to throw the GOP under the bus. But
you go have to carry him out on one of his pillows. He's done.
Yeah.
He's done. He will lose by 80%.
Yeah. I mean, he's a tall dude, man. So, you can have like 3 pillows together, man. Just stretch room on out of there.
Yeah, he's done, man. He's done. He's finished.
And look, this is not the perfect time to be a black conservative.
They're useless. They have no value.
Not the time.
They never were a big part of the game. They never were. They're lesser than now. Many of these guys are crazy, stupid. A lot of them don't even know what a black conservative really is. They don't even know. All right. And that was the whole thing about when we were with Stanley the other day with that young lady he had on there. She's not a black conservative. That's the whole issue. You got to living in. Hey, listen, MOT, living in a liberal state like New York and being in New York City, call itself. This is craziness. So this is the kind of craziness you got out here with these people running around saying the illest stuff. They're of no value. They are of zero impact. They're nothing. They have nothing to gain. They're nothing.
I mean, they don't even have jobs in the administration.
The administration cut them out.
Scott don't have a job.
The administration cut them out. They're cut out.
God.
They're cut out. They're out.
What's the
There's nowhere to be seen.
Who did that barbershop nonsense in Atlanta? He's not going to win a primary against, the governor's wife. That's not going to happen. Dude, I don't know why these people keep pretending. Because, I was listening to. Did you watch that clip from Karen Hunter? What? Well, you know what? Screw that. Let's play it.
Play that. Play that clip.
Let's play the clip because this is how you have to handle personnel who don't take sides or personnel who throw away their vote, which is your right, but it's also your right for me not to talk to you about anything.
Shut them off.
Oh, jeez. Karen Hunter. All right. Pull this up. And then we're just going to listen to this because you got a lot of black people who come online. Look, if you live in a liberal area, you are a liberal. Please stop. Please stop.
Please.
And you can't say that gay marriage and Latinos and all this kind of stuff made you want to be in the middle. Please stop. Please.
Exactly. And listen, and please cut it out with, I'm conservative because of my family values, because I'm, a man and women are should be married and all that. Obama and all them had the same thing.
Oh shit.
You have no monopoly on that as well. So please, let's get out of the craziness. You know,
Yeah. I don't want to hear.
you know.
Yeah. I want to hear that shit. The Democratic Party left me behind because gay people got the right to sign a bad contract. So what is going on?
Most of them are grifters, and then you're sitting there talking about I'm a conservative, and you're in New York City. Come on, man, come on.
So it's her servers in New York City.
Yeah. I mean, Hillary Clinton voters. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
Did you vote in 2024?
I did. I did.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Jill Stein.
Oh, so you're
stomach. Well, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, no, I won't let you finish. Simply because you're calling up to justify.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate.
Harry in St. Louis, who's holding on. You're on the Karen Hunter Show. Welcome. Hi.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's always good to listen to your show. And I was thrilled to hear that you like to listen to Jeffrey David Sachs. So he's awesome. But I just want to share something kind of personal. Third week of October in 2023, I was sitting on my couch and I was just scrolling through Tumblr because I'm kind of old school. And I came across a post that said urgent in big red letters. And it said, follow these accounts now. And there were 24 Instagram accounts listed. You know, I'm kind of nosy. So I went on Instagram. I looked up these accounts and they were all journalists inside Gaza. And so for the next, 2 years, I had a front row seat in 4K of everything coming up out of Gaza. I mean, I've seen children blown in every different way, walking through fire and you name it. You've probably seen some of the videos, but it made me do a deeper dive and to really understand the issue. Just like Ta-Nehisi Coates did with his book he put out. When you go over and you see it, it has a different impact on you. So when we talk about Gaza, that's not something happening over there. We are 100% the United States responsible for that because it's all of our companies doing that over there. And
all right, I'm very clear about that.
Yeah. So
I think we've been very clear. Hold on.
Well,
hold on. No, did you vote in 2024?
Yeah,
I did. I did.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Jill Stein.
Oh, so you're
stomach. Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, no, I won't let you finish. Simply because you're calling up to justify participating, because you did, as we talk about Gaza, because I walk and chew gum. So we can have a conversation about Gaza. That's horrible. Yes, America usually has had its hand in the destabilization and the destruction of people everywhere. We don't talk about the Sudan. We're not talking about what's going on in Rwanda. America had its hand. Bill Clinton pulled out stakes from Rwanda when that was happening. Haiti, America is problematic. We live here though. And if we want America to be anything but problematic, voting for a Russian op is not the answer. Since you
an Israeli op is what they are.
Whatever she is, Larry. So can you sit in you're casting a vote for somebody who had no snowball's chance in hell of winning and didn't want to win? Where is she now? If she's so concerned about this country,
she's still out there. She's out there.
You participated in us being here. If you're not willing to accept that, we can't talk.
Voted for Kamala, Karen. Trump was still going in there. Goodbye. All this equivocating. And I know it because you set the table for we're going to talk about Gaza. What about Minneapolis? This is where we are right now. I don't live over there. I live here. And every day somebody's in somebody's neighborhood terrorizing them right here. And you participated in it because you decided that you had the privilege, because I hear it in your voice, I could vote for Jill Stein. Well, good for you. Good for you. I didn't have that luxury. I wish I could have not voted. I ain't like nobody either, if I'm being honest. But I have a responsibility.
not just to myself, because quite frankly, I did not vote for myself. Okay. So if we are really about this life and we're going to be, and I don't think he's a troll. I think he's defensive. I think he wanted to give himself some solace. You get no solace here. Sit in it and then do something different. You made a mistake. Own that. We're here because of people like you, Larry. And if you don't want to accept it, that's fine. You can find someplace else to be.
That's what it is. You can find your ass somewhere else other than here. We have nothing to talk about. Everywhere you go, you got these black people. Well, that's a white guy, but then again, you got these black people who live in these liberal areas who've been there all their life, and then all of a sudden, they don't know anything about the history. They can't reconcile currently where they at. They went from a 4% chance to like what, middle of the road or whatever in the hell that they want to talk about. It's like, what are you talking about? What is this? What is this?
She would write it on him, but she did not waste time.
No. What you do is you just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's who you vote for. Fucking bullshit. Like, what are we discussing here? What'd you vote for?
That's it.
Like I was on Big J Triple X channel, and I was talking to this guy named Sharon Bradley, and he was talking all this crazy stuff about how he wanted to see change, and I had to be like, hey man, I know what your content is. I'm like, all right man, so who you vote for? Know what he did? He did the same thing. What happened when I asked Lil Big Nate to name a Republican policy on Bernard Riley's show? He couldn't do it. He couldn't tell you who he voted for.
Couldn't
tell you.
Couldn't do it, and they got angry, pissed off, and that's how they respond. Because they don't have an answer.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch another video because you need to be taught how to actually talk to these black miserable liberals, and that's who they are. You know, there's nothing else to be said. People are black miserable liberals, and they just want attention. I think they deserve automatic stole on, but it's just me. I'm not gonna talk to these people about anything because I'm asking about American history and where you stayed for most of that history. You know, most of your history is I actually live in an actual liberal area, but I'm somehow a conservative. I'm like,
oh,
you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
This is
Fuck out of here.
This is perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So what you're gonna see is when most black, I'm just gonna use black, disingenuous people who just don't know anything about politics, who just want to be in the way and just want everybody to come to them and give them a personal press conference and just bring them up to speed. I'm sorry, I don't do Delta November, bring Delta November up to speed anymore. You live in the same country that I do. You know that, right? So what would be the purpose of me keep bringing you up to speed when you don't care about the outcomes? Because yes, both sides are the same. If you have no intention on learning the history, if you have no intention on actually participating, then both sides are the same. And my actual response to you is also the same. As soon as you start talking that third party, I'm a libertarian, I live in a liberal area type shit, and you ain't a fucking liberal, man, fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. You go do that shit with somebody else. You can go hit the dumb nigga blunt, puff pass with somebody else. I ain't got time for you to get your shit off. I got time for you to learn the actual history so that way we can have a conversation about what's going on now. Not some other idiotic stuff that don't need to be happening. So let's play this nonsense right here.
I started to feel as if that the Democratic Party, there was no space for me. in the Democratic Party. So while I know that things, for instance, around like social issues like
Yes.
gay marriage and stuff, that changed how people felt about gay marriage when Barack Obama was in office. But I started to feel like, well, maybe if I don't necessarily think that a little boy can really be a little girl,
Mhm.
like, but there was no space for that in the Democratic Party. Me being someone who is pro-life.
Okay, so here's the thing before we go forward. There are medical checks in place that make sure all that stuff is done. Okay. It isn't how they're actually describing it. And you've never heard these people actually say this stuff in front of a doctor who's a part of that process. They're lying. And they're all purposefully presenting a case that is not the stuff on the ground. It is not what's happening there. What's going on, Quiz and Prince? But yeah, but let's just keep going. So, because I'm gonna stop it at certain parts so that way we can respond to it. Go.
No, MOT, just go through with this because there's some key stuff that's got to be said here that people have to hear.
Yeah.
Just,
When he says he's pro-life, but he votes with a party that wants to cancel people's health insurance.
Maybe I really am not pro-abortion because that was just my stance because I was a Democrat. You know, you're a Democrat.
Right.
This is what you were supposed to feel. And I did not feel as if that I was welcome with some of those, what I now see are more traditional conservative views. There was no space for me in the Democratic Party. So in 2016, the move had already been happening.
Yeah.
And that's why I say when it coincided with the election of Donald Trump, I didn't move to the Republican Party because of Donald Trump. And people often ask me, you know, how could you vote because he wasn't a Republican or he wasn't a conservative? That move started, unlike a lot of people. I'm a fan of the Bush family.
Yeah.
A lot of people now, conservatives, especially on the Trump MAGA side, they don't like them. They see them as rhinos. But for me, when I looked at ideal, Republicans and conservatives, they were people like Condoleezza Rice. You read the story of Condoleezza Rice growing up in Birmingham. Her first book, it was about her parents. I can't even think of the name of it.
I'm looking at the cover of it.
Ordinary, Extraordinary People. It was something like that. But those are the people that I look to as rock solid conservatives. It was just that political evolution that I had, meaning moving to the Republican Party, that happened in 2016. I actually started
after Obama left office. So you were a Democrat until Barack Obama didn't do what he was supposed to do, that you thought he was supposed to do. So you went to the Republican Party at the wrong time.
and based on gay marriage?
Over gay marriage.
Over gay marriage. So you
what
look at
is going on here?
So you look at healthcare. Okay, you're also looking at voting rights and all of this, and you made this transition or your evolution over gay marriage. Listen to these ninjas. I mean, these ninjas are crazy.
Like to go. He waited until Barack Obama was out of office, and for Donald Trump to win, to go to the Republican Party when it was no longer being ran by the conservatives that he liked.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
What is going on here? Like, how? All right, let's hear more of this foolishness.
Started 2016 thinking that I was going to vote for Jeb Bush. Well, we know what happened with Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush was out, I think, probably in the first month of that primary. And so it ended up being Donald Trump by default. But I didn't start thinking that I was going to vote for Donald Trump at all. And so I always stress that me becoming a Republican, unlike a lot of other people, had much less to do with Donald Trump than it did me in this evolution of sorts that I had.
No, I get it. I want to go back to your opening salvo in terms of education. in the value of education. And for a historical note for our viewers, Booker T. Washington was Republican. Frederick Douglass.
That's an automatic.
Was Republican. Let's not forget Colin Powell is Republican.
And who did Colin Powell vote for before he died?
And so there are significant seminal figures in Black history, and I don't want people to get lost.
See, Black people have a very hard time with political history. Because if you just learned it and know what the party was then and what the party is now, Frederick Douglass would not support the party that it is now. Okay?
He would not.
He wouldn't.
He would not.
He wouldn't.
They seem not to understand the iterations that the Republican Party has actually gone through. And once again, I keep saying it's like a broken record. When we start to look at Lee Atwater and all them who came through here in the 80s and bought the Southern Strategy and all that stuff came through, how do you justify that and talk about the
crazy that you don't learn it? It's crazy that you don't know it.
How do you? And there are plenty of us running around who don't know this, who sit here and don't and make this ridiculously foolish statement on a regular and consistent basis. I understand these white folks who do that. I understand that. But how is a Black person who was looking at this and does not understand this transition, that does not understand that, doesn't understand. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so let me keep going.
That it was really a critical moment that for a long time, being the party of Lincoln, most Black people historically were.
And it was the party that actually helped stop Reconstruction too, but you never bring that up.
Republican. We can talk about later on where that shift happened and how that shift happened. But Black people haven't always been Democrat. Let's start there. But my concern, Malik, is what you start with in the value and appreciation for education. I am overwhelmingly concerned, and I want to know where your heart is coming from. Mississippi that had.
You have got to be fucking kidding me. He's from my home state. And this ought to be great.
As one of the lowest educational scores in the United States, on books being banned, curriculums being remixed, as it were, teachers being threatened if certain things are being taught.
Black American history is no longer taught in actual schools in Mississippi. That's some of that DEI stuff that they threw out. Because especially in the Delta, the actual history is very heavily Black focused. They're focused on how the whites in that country did screw up that actual area that screwed up till today. Now it's called DEI, and they teach this kind of raceless historical nonsense in the schools now. It's ridiculous.
Where do you think education in America is going when we keep saying America's number one, and the average American has a 9th grade, I think, at best reading level. The average American isn't reading a book from cover to cover post high school. And Donald Trump's main target group is the uninformed and the functionally illiterate. Where do you see the Republican Party's stance on education is based off of what we're seeing the last couple of weeks?
Well, some news about Mississippi,
Yes.
And I'm glad to report on this. So Mississippi, I think that now on, I think it's the NAEP scores. I forgot the name, the acronym, but we're now, our 4th graders were.
See this piece of shit? No one grades 4th graders. No one. No one says they have the best 4th graders. No one. That is a Republican talking point. No one says we have the best 4th graders on earth and everybody else can't read after 4th grade.
This is unbelievable. But MOT, please continue.
I think 9th and when it comes to reading, and I think they got up a couple of digit points when it comes to math too. So we have updated education numbers. If I knew
I'm
I was
glad
going
to
talk
hear it.
about, we have updated education numbers. But what Republicans, conservatives typically, when we talk about education, it is around choice.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Donald Trump signed a number of executive orders to deal with the issue of choice. What I realize, even on the political aspect of that, I live in Washington, D.C. now. And it's very easy because this is the game that's played, and Republicans do this. Of course, Democrats do it too. But
Stop.
Wow.
Why don't you live in a conservative area? Why did you move from Mississippi where they don't fund anything, my home state? You moved to D.C. and you claim to be a Republican once you got to D.C.? What is going on here? Renaissance, what's going on, man?
Yeah. What's up, guys?
All right, what's up, buddy?
What's up? I was gonna say no. What he was referring to, you can Google this. It's called the Mississippi Miracle. So they did have an increase in reading scores, but it was just because like they went back to teaching phonics, and this had nothing to do with like Republican politics.
No,
And I think it was largely Democrats who did a lot of this, like black women who were involved in like teaching and getting back to this. And this is also in the backdrop of what do you call it? Virtual learning. So that's some of it. So we'll see if it's maintained. And yeah, to your point, yeah, DC is literally one of, if not the most liberal place in the country.
It's the bastion of liberalness, and anyway, it's just anyway.
And all those PhDs were black women, because you rarely see black men doing anything for the community down in Mississippi. So a lot of black women who graduated from Delta State, Mississippi Valley, Alcorn, Jackson State. Those are the people who moved back to the communities and are heavily involved in schools. People who went to school when I was actually going to school. Those are the main, most of the main people who are now spread out over the state and who are doing things with the same money, because they're not getting additional funding. That's not what's happening. But they want to take credit when things are actually going right, and it is because of those changes that those female PhDs actually did. It had nothing to do with the state of Mississippi doing anything. They want to take credit for it, but they're not responsible for it.
I saw one story where there was a black woman who actually like found like an abandoned, I can't remember where it was in Mississippi, found like an abandoned storefront, basically created a charter school. Like literally had to take desks out of the thing, out of like either storage or out of like that had been thrown away, clean them up, like to have desks for students. But she started school, was actually featured in the New York Times. She got a bunch of donations. So yeah, a lot of this has been driven by women grassroots.
Yep. Because the women are the ones who do all the work in the South. Sorry, that's just the way it is. You don't really see most of the men doing anything except for trying to be podcasters or talk about sports. So the women PhDs do be putting in that work down there.
Yeah, they're not organized. The men aren't organized.
No, not at all. They just want to be rappers and other type of things that require just no work. But let's keep going.
But Republicans like to point to whether it's Atlanta, DC, Baltimore, Chicago, and say, aha, this is what progressive or Democrat governance does. My local school, I live in Washington, D.C., Ward 8, my local elementary school, I checked out the test scores. 1.7% of the students met or exceeded proficiency in reading and math. 1.7%. That doesn't have anything really to do with the mayor, even though anybody who knows DC, it is very blue, probably one of the bluest jurisdictions in the whole country. But it is something about our community. And so you talk about the value of that, where Republicans see that. There is, and that's where choice comes in. Now, it is not, and I always remind people when we talk about education, there is I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach to education.
Yes.
I believe that it should be very all-inclusive. So for Republicans who look at things like choice, who look at things, you mentioned the book bans. I've said many times before, some of the things that Republicans are doing around the issue, and let's just say DEI, or rooting out DEI, because before a DEI, it was let's get rid of critical race theory. Even though most people don't understand what critical race theory is, they can't pinpoint specific instances
So
where
why are
critical
you
race
supporting
theory
these
is being
people?
taught. But
Yeah.
Like, you just literally admitted that the two biggest boogeymen they've talked about, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, you just admitted that. And now you're going to go and talk about choice. I'm like, yo, if you go look at the schools in Arizona, they've done the same thing. All they're basically doing is trying to give money to rich people who already send their kids to public school. So they're doing this in Alabama too. They'll create a school voucher program. They'll say you can, quote unquote, send your kids anywhere. And then rich people who are already paying for private school are going to use a voucher so they can basically get a tax break to send their kids to private school, defund the public schools, and then, when these same kids that they claim that they want to help want to get into these private schools, they'll be rejected for some odd reason. They're not a good fit, this, and that. Like, it's just trying to basically dismantle public education and then basically reinstate school segregation.
That's exactly correct.
I mean, you know what? Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, MOT. Go ahead.
I mean, if they just would have funded schools equally, we wouldn't have this problem, right? So it's still okay. So he went from Mississippi to go to DC, a very liberal area, live in a completely black area and complain about things there, and then try to blame this Democrat-run place thing. Well, you had a pretty white Republican-led state that you left that has the same problems, but you don't want to call that out. But you only want to do it when you move to a black area. Like, this doesn't.
Oh boy.
I don't know what to say here, but yeah, let's just keep going.
Bear in mind, this guy used to be on Roland Martin. He's not on there anymore because he got embarrassed one too many times.
No, of course he would. Of course he would. But what the media has done is they have propped up these black conservatives and allow them to be on TV with next to no pushback. And that's why people think that being a conservative is the thing, because you're not required to learn history as a black conservative. You're not going to get your head knocked off, in a debate by a black conservative. Like, what do you think would happen if that guy were to sit across from like Elie Mystal with this type of nonsense?
Exactly. Exactly.
He'd have been Ichabod Crane up in there, man.
Yeah, they let him get away with talking about, yeah, black people used to be Republicans. Yeah, that's not the same party. Like, why are we even talking about this?
I'm telling you, he would have knocked his head. You would have been Ichabod Crane, dude. That's what you would have seen, the Headless Horseman after that coming up. No headless.
I'm Santa Claus from Clay Kane with this nonsense. And it's like, you have these specific grifters who bring these people on, no pushback, no debate. They get to say all this nonstuff. It's crazy. So let's just keep this going. It's not that much longer.
But when Republicans go as far as the book bans, I think that there is value to some of the things, some of the books. So, for instance, the big deal that was made in Florida around the Don't Say Gay bill. Well, that's what it was termed. But if you actually looked at the legislation, that was referencing, I think, up to, I forgot what the second graders, I forgot what age that is when you're in the second grade.
Right.
But it was, if you are an 8-year-old, you shouldn't be able to go into a class, read, or have any type of instruction on sexuality. Personally, I believe that is just, I don't have any kids.
Okay, so we all been through second grade here. Renaissance man, did they reference anything to sex in second grade where you grew up at?
No, you didn't get sex education to like 7th, 8th grade.
No, I think they made you watch a woman having a kid in home economics, but that was like 6th grade though.
No, you started seeing sex education when I started seeing it, and went to some pretty good schools. I think it was seventh. That was seventh grade, seventh, eighth, and ninth middle school. That's where you started.
So definitely not a second grader, right?
Second grade, you are what, 8 years old, 9 years old.
I don't think they're talking to eighth graders about that, and that's what I don't like about the anti-gay conversation, is because they say stuff like this that we know ain't happening, and they present it as fact, and that's the only thing they can kind of latch on to.
Especially not in the South. Like, first of all, they don't even really do sex education in the South. They will do only abstinence only education, and then you can even I think opt out of that with parents. So this idea that some local school in Alabama, these deep red states talking about, like, come on, dude.
You're damn right. I don't want nobody to talk about my kid about no sex, 7, 8 years old. Like, yes, sir, but it ain't happening either. But being a black conservative is very easy. Just repeat the talking points. Don't bother being right, and just you could just get to have interviews with people. Like, we just can't treat him as an uninformed guy who just haven't read a book. Yeah, he's just sitting in front of people talking that crazy stuff. Let's keep going.
But I believe that is too early to be talking about sexuality. Now, when you get to some of these books that over the years have been banned in one way or the other, Toni Morrison books, that is something that is more for maybe middle, high school students. So I think from my perspective on the book bans, it depends on which level are you talking about. Do I believe that an 8-year-old should be taught about gender, sexuality? My answer is going to absolutely no. But if you are in middle school, or if you are in an AP course,
where they normally do it,
course in high school or something, and it is in some way what Republicans now like to decide as something being DEI, but the book itself deals with race, gender, class. Personally, I don't have a problem with that at that level. It is where that starts is where I disagree with a lot of my colleagues.
Wait, does this do like MOT? When did they teach you about civil rights in Mississippi? Because they taught us about Emmett Till in like 5th grade. So now we can't learn about that till high school?
Nah, I think it was probably 4th grade actually.
You got to read
fourth.
Yeah, we had to read Huck Finn. What do you think? That's not about race? What?
Come on, man. Yeah.
What do you think?
So let's watch another clip of this. And it's vitally important why you learn history, so that way you can learn about these on-camera bullshit artists. So that way it's up to you to know the actual history. So that way you don't have some bullshit artists come on and try to tell you about second graders learning about sex education, which isn't happening. Which is why I don't listen to the gay issue, period. So let's play this one. Hold on. Let's make sure you can see it first. Again, it's just a reason to be intellectually dishonest for an actual conversation with people who just don't give a damn about the process. Let's keep going.
What do you think is the state of civil rights and the movement under this must Trump era?
The state of, I think we're in trouble. I really do. I think America has a reckoning, and unfortunately, as a result of that reckoning, there will be a lot of collateral damage. Wow. America has done a lot to rape, rob, pillage, steal, kill.
Yeah.
You have now an administration that is playing on Holy Land, in the business of the Palestinians and Jewish, and we know there's some true biblical, ground there. You have him here in the States that is operating from a level of cruelty, with hurting, so many Americans that are working and jobs cutting and things like that. I understand why people follow Trump. I really do.
Why do you think they do?
He's a fighter. People want to follow a fighter. So whether you like him or not, I called this out 10 plus years ago. Whether you like his policies or not, people know, his supporters know that he's going to do exactly what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
Come hell or high water. If that means executive
They actually
orders,
don't.
if that means disregarding Congress, if that means
Disregarding the
not- yeah,
Constitution.
the Constitution.
Yeah.
People want to know you are a rider. That's it, and that's all. They want to
Yeah.
know that by any means necessary, you have what is perceived their best interests.
Hold on a second. That's not
That's not-
true.
it really
What
isn't.
are you talking about? It's like, okay, I believe in the guy who says what he means, even if it's unconstitutional, even if it takes my job away. I'll just do it because he said he's gonna do it. That's not
No.
true.
No, they interview these people. They're always like, "Oh, he's just talking. He's not really gonna do that." And then when he does it, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know he's good." Like, no, these people voted and do this stuff because they think other people are going to get hurt. They think the shit is not going to affect them, and then when it
Yeah.
affects them, they're like, well, I didn't know it's going to be this. But would you vote for him again? I have to think about it.
Yeah. Just like that guy from that wood mill in Carolina. The guy said, given everything that Trump did, even though he lost half of his business, the guy said that he would still vote for Trump again. Even after that. So those people that you just cannot help. But I disagree with what she just said, because it just did not make any sense.
No.
See, straight shooter. Like I said, I'm in El Paso, Texas right now. There is not one ICE officer. There's not one border patrol truck. Nothing. There's nothing here because they other places. Crazy. Let's keep going with this.
And so I get that. I understand that. Nobody in the military follows anybody weak. You know, I'm
Ooh.
trying to tell this to the Democrat Party. Nobody's going to.
You're fucking crazy. People in the military follow fucking orders of people who's in charge with them. Okay? This sort of uninformed ignorance, woke shit that she's talking, that shit ain't true. What the fuck you talking about? Nah. There are plenty of weak generals. Plenty of weak, spineless, throw people under the bus generals. Guess what? People still follow them motherfuckers because they outranked.
Exactly, because they're in charge.
That's what I'm saying. Like what? But you can only talk this type of stuff in front of people who don't know how the military works. Let's keep going.
Follow me up the road
Yeah.
if I'm operating from a position of passiveness, if I'm operating from a position of being civil.
Yes.
I said this morning, I'm not a civilian, so don't expect me to be civil. I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
And so he mirrors that. He mirrors what I saw growing up in a Piru hood. He mirrors pushing the line, gangsterism, no matter what, muscle, hustle, whatever. And so people, they admire, they find strength in that. I absolutely get it. I wish.
Okay, the name of this clip is called Trump's Appeal to Black Voters. That's what this bullshit coming out of her mouth is called. How Trump appeals to the black community.
Unbelievable.
It was more of that in the civil rights movement, but it's just not.
Yikes.
Yeah.
She conflates what was happening with the civil rights movement with what the fuck Trump is doing right now.
Right. Does she know that Trump literally is on record saying he quit playing football because he didn't like getting hit by those guys from the other side? Like, the way people have turned this guy into some big tough guy is hysterical to me.
It's insanity. It's insanity. But you will have to understand why people really appeal to Trump, and we're not talking about so much about black, but people who really appeal, who really like Trump, is Trump promised them some things that they didn't feel that they were getting, and that big part of that was the fact that they were losing their space in line to your black and Latino ass out here. That's what they were figuring. Listen, he's going to put us back on top. That's really what these guys are going for. That's and these Negroes feel like they are somehow in this group that they so badly want to be a part of, because they're out of that group, and it's real madness. It's a schizophrenia that I've looked at, that I think some of this is based on a mental illness, because their numbers are not significant anyway. Their numbers are not significant than any other time that black people voted for Republicans. These are not significant numbers, as much as
they chose the wrong time to do this. Why do it now? This is the worst time to be a Republican.
And it shows you just how crazy these folks are, just how deep that sickness is.
She said Trump represents gangsterism. What?
Gangsterism.
No, MOT. The reason you become a Republican now is there's no standard.
There is no standard.
You don't have to know anything. You don't have to know anybody. Like, you see celebrities and stuff that's why people all of a sudden become Republicans. It's like, you don't have to know shit. Versus, like, if you're gonna be on the Bush Republicans, like, you're gonna have to have someone who knew something, like a basic level understanding of politics. Like, now it's just like, oh, it's just a complete circus. I don't have to know anything. I can say anything. I can do anything. And I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative.
But these people also want others who they don't like to get hurt. You have to understand there's a certain level of cruelty that appeals to these people that Trump has. I will hurt the people you don't like. And that's what appeals to a lot of these folks.
And it turns out the people he don't like is them too.
But they so badly want to be in because they want to get in on it. That's how effed up these people. Unbelievable.
All right, let's keep going here, because this clip is amazing.
With the way that the culture is yielding, I have said around the country, I'm just getting back from speaking about 150 pastors in Virginia yesterday. I don't know what protesting will now look like when you can now get jailed as a college student. You can now get deported off of a college campus. That you can't use certain words like activism anymore in any federal agency. In the first Trump era term, he wanted to open fire on Black Lives Matter protesters on Pennsylvania Avenue, and the Army stopped him. Now he has complete control of the armed forces. I'm going to tell you, Tez, I don't know if we need to be going out on no picket signs right now. Right. Unless you're ready to lay it all down. Right. What do you think is the marching order? Because people are getting frustrated and restless and anxious all over the country at the same time.
Yeah, my opinion is not a popular opinion.
Okay,
but I'm glad. Let's do some cleansing. Let's see who's really willing to lay it all down. I'm with that. I'm with the Army of Gideon. It maybe for far too long we had too many people that was out there protesting that wasn't willing to lay it all down. On our brother Attorney Crump's documentary Civil, I said I was willing to die for the cause.
Right.
So again, from my military standpoint, from my hood standpoint, whatever, if you was never willing to die for the cause, then we probably just need you in the house. I'm gonna
you may need me in the house.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and stay in the house. Yeah, we want you in the house. And so my movement called Push the Line, politics till something happens. Each person is doing a different job. You got somebody that's doing the P, pushing the P, the U, the S, the H, and the kid is standing by. I believe in everybody having a different role. No war is won with just the Air Force. You need the Air Force.
Wow.
You need the Marines, who are a few good men on the ground.
Yes.
You need the Army, who are on the ground. You need the Air Force in the air, which is virtual.
Yes.
We need you virtual.
Yes.
We need the Navy that's out in the sea. I'll give you this analogy, Pastor Brian. And again, this is just my military hood growing up. Boys in the hood.
Yes.
I use this all the time. You remember when Trey said he was willing to go fight?
Yes.
He did all this crying. Remember swinging at the wind? Remember he did all that. Had the bloody shirt on, went against his father, jumped out the window.
Yes.
He did all of that. I was raised by some of the realists in LA. People like that are dangerous. He got in the car when it was time to really put in work. He said, let me out the car. See, he had no business ever being in the car. We needed him at Morehouse. Go on ahead and go to Morehouse.
Right.
Because when it was time to put in work, somebody like Trey gonna either get you killed or gonna get a case.
Yeah.
Because you were never built for that.
I wasn't built for it.
And that's fine.
Send me to Morehouse.
And they send you to Morehouse.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know like where they stand in this.
Yeah.
Because it's dangerous to have. Cube knew, the character he played, Doughboy, knew his fate.
What do you think?
Oh God. We're doing Delta November talk now. Delta November movies. Wow.
Unreal.
No, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. You go into whatever service you want to. Me, I don't like sleeping outside. I think that shit is crazy. Send me to the hotel. Fuck that. I watch the planes when they land. I don't want to go out there and do all that. Fuck that bullshit. Leave me in the rear with the gear. I like hot meals every fucking day. I'm not sleeping outside, man. I'm sorry, man. We got nice hotels, man. No real reason for us to be doing no shit like that. Now, there are people who want to go do that stuff and want to think that they're better than everybody else because they do all that stuff. I would never take that away from them. So that way I gotta do that shit. So no. All right, man. So that was the show, man. You know, the white man's ice was colder under Obama, definitely colder under Biden. The effective deportations were up. They didn't have to cancel a whole bunch of people's status in order to get these people arrested and out of the country. I don't think immigration is a real issue. It's a real issue for fucking idiots who are not working class and don't have any design to be so. These people have no design on being working class, because if they did, they would have skilled up already. There is no immigrants that are coming across the border that are taking the jobs away from skilled individuals. Now, there are people who are coming from India who's taking IT jobs away, but that's not even an argument from these Delta Novembers. Like, they just don't want them here.
That's the issue. They don't like them. They don't want them here, and that's what it is. That's all that is. And then if you want to explain to me these, I think who put that in the chat? I think it was Straight Shooter or whatever. You know, these Latinos who went and voted for this guy who was put.
Yes, they did. I mean, you gotta understand it, Gone. Like, once Latino get their legal status, they done being Latino. They're white now. I mean, that been the case. Like, dude, most of the Latinos that I actually served in the military with, the moment that they got out and they got that legal status, that Latino shit was over with. They were white now. They didn't give a damn about none of that stuff that was going on with those quote unquote other people. I got mine's F you. That's exactly what it is. It's like, you know, when I left, you know, Miami, you know, last week, you still got these dudes walking around with camouflage Trump hats on because they think it's gonna save them from deportation. This shit's crazy. And walking around with all this Trump gear because they think it's gonna buy them a couple extra days in the United States. It's nuts.
Unreal.
So with that said, man, I want to thank y'all for coming through. The Man Tomorrow. You got anything else before we get up out of here?
Hey, thanks for inviting me up, MOT.
All right, cool.
Wait.
Rest House, man. You got anything else before we get up out of here?
Wait, MOT. I'm gonna drop something in the chat. You got hold on.
Oh, you got something I need to play?
Yeah, I just dropped it in the back chat. Just a nice outro since we were talking about immigration.
Oh, I know what you're gonna play. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let that rip. Yeah, let that rip.
Hold on a second. Put that there. Add this to the stage. I got some new intro music, man. I'm gonna share with y'all behind the scenes before I put some actual video to it. This is this. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, let's put this up. Is this real?
This is real.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Bueno, señoras y señores, everybody, let's sing this song, everybody, together, okay? I need you loud, because I want you Trump. Hear that song, okay? Again. Yo quiero que todo el mundo lo cante fuerte. Para que nuestro presidente la escuche. Okay? En español bien ahorita. So, tranquilito. Come on. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh my God, I will vote. Everybody, I will vote. Come on. Repeat.
I can't believe this shit. Is this real?
It's real. It's totally real.
Oh, get out of here. They let that video stay?
Oh my God.
Yo,
What?
these people on the internet have been on these people's necks. Anytime someone comes out, that lady who was the head of in Florida, who was a rep, she was like, "Oh, I'm worried my son's gonna get deported. Like, Republicans need to stop this." People said, "Hey, yo," and they just drop it.
Yo. He plays this. I was watching that all last year when they were doing this. It's crazy. Very true video. That is real as it gets. And
Man,
that
look,
lady there is.
I'm gonna have to add that as a video clip, man. Like whenever I start talking to a Latino, man.
That shit is real. Those Cubans down there are acting crazy, man. Them folks is way out of line. But great.
And none of them dudes are getting deported at a record rate to Cuba. Never had that problem before.
Yo, man, this is crazy, but that's what they were doing, dancing for this guy to send them on out of here and have the Supreme Court actually back up the administration by saying we can profile you if you're brown skin and have an accent. We can profile you to get thrown up out this piece. Crazy. That's what these people helped to bring into this country.
Man.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, man. Yeah, they were Cubans. They were Cubans. I mean, like, you would have to like if you live in a community of people who showed up there, you would have to like knock these dudes out, put them on a flight, and just land them back in Cuba. Like, you can't clearly be around people who was part of that song, man. You can't be around them.
Yo, it's a very real thing. I'm over here, Renaissance Man dropped that. He dropped that. It's a very extremely real video. It's a real people. That's at a real event. That's a song they made up. They were singing it all around Florida and all that, dancing and spinning and and doing all that. And you see the end result of what that of what that yielded. Horrific.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Since we're going this far, we might as well go back to the actual niggas for Trump. Shit. Why not?
The problem with that is you at least kept that at bay. It was like, okay, like okay, the Republicans celebrated they got like what 20% of black voters, something like that, right in line basically with what Bush was getting, a little bit, maybe a little bit more. These people went, I think a majority of the men actually went for Trump.
They did.
No, actually, like a lot of black people voted for Bush like the second time. They did the second time.
Bush got a legitimate, I think it was 19 or close to 20%.
Yeah, he did. He did it the second time.
Yeah. He did that, and the other one who was highest, besides Eisenhower, was Nixon, and he did. I think he did like 23 or 24% or something like that. Nixon. Well, Nixon actually was kind of almost close to 30. Yeah, and Nixon did very well, but that was because you had the whole drug thing hit, and we had a lot of craziness that was going on. So Nixon caught a lot of support. Sammy Davis Jr. and all of them were out there hyping for this guy, but people were still upset about that. But anyway, those guys hit it the hardest. Trump didn't come anywhere near those numbers. But anyway, people are sitting here saying he got so much. No, he didn't. No, he didn't hit it. But the Latinos came out heavy. The Latinos did come out heavy for him. The Latino males were the biggest supporters, and those were the guys getting torn out the frame and shipped on out of here. I think that woman who was there singing, "I will vote for Donald Trump." Okay. her husband got swept on up out of here as well. So sent his ass back to Havana. So that's how that went down. It was tough situation.
Now it looks like people, though, I don't know if y'all covered this before I came, but people may be learning their lesson, because I don't know if y'all saw. I think I sent it to you last night. Democrats won in the district in Texas. They haven't won since 1991.
Yeah. No.
That's the story we started off with. We started off with that.
Yeah, and they're basically now saying that they think this gerrymandering in Texas that
it may backfire, but anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, because you didn't give the legislature the ability to actually weigh in on it, and when you don't, like Gavin Newsom did it the right way, Texas did it the wrong way.
Yeah, he put it on the ballot. It was a
and changed the Constitution. Yeah. He changed the Constitution.
He did the right thing. He did it the right way, and like I said, the performance that the White House has got going is so poor right now that, like I said, that gerrymandering plan that they had, it was going to backfire on them. Nobody, his biggest issue was, or his biggest supposed to be strength was supposed to be immigration, and he's lost control of that narrative with these horrific invasions and grabbing people.
The only thing he had to do was do what Biden and Obama was doing, but be a hell of a lot more injudicious about doing so.
Oh no, they
didn't have to go as far as they did go, hanging out of schools, hanging out of churches, going to Home Depot.
MOT, no, they did that on purpose. Like, they were saying specifically, like Noam and Miller, they specifically knew, hey, this is gonna be less effective. We want the clashes, we want the headlines and things like that, because it's basically red meat for the base. They're ineffective, but they knew that going into it.
They they thought if they could grab a lot of people, and they knew they didn't have the initial set of numbers to match
Obama or Biden.
They knew they didn't, but they felt that if they could just snatch up a whole lot and grab a whole lot of numbers really early, that would be that would work in their favor. And it was going to get ugly. They understood that.
Yeah, they wanted it to.
But the killings, the murders and these things that are going on, especially amongst whites, these guys are idiots. They didn't really plan to see how that was going to play out. They didn't think about that. They didn't think through this. They tried to move too fast. They didn't think through it, because these are not thinkers. These are reactors. They felt that their base was going to be with them all the way around. And yeah, they do have a hardcore base that's going to be with them regardless of anything that they do, but they're not going to be in the majority.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, I think they may have been trying to think, well, hey, if we can have these dramatic clashes, we can scare people and maybe they'll self-deport. But you got a lot of people just being like, hey, I'm sitting at home.
Nah, it's not gonna work.
Wow. Well, that's what they thought would work. But they've run a terrifying, bloodthirsty game. It has been exceedingly terrifying, but that has not cracked the Caglione as these guys here in New York would say. It did knock it out the box. So
I just don't get the purpose at this point. Like, he walked in, he destroyed nearly every issue that they were good on for a while, and it's like, what do you do now? Like, okay, so what does the party stand for? You can't claim you're for the Second Amendment. You can't claim you're pro-family.
as long as for Trump, he's getting rich. He's being
Yeah,
able to
yeah.
charge people for visas. He's getting able to create that that counts for peace and charge people $1 billion and pocket the money. Like, yeah, he's getting everything he wants out of this shit. The rest of
He's
these
making
people
money.
in here, yeah, exactly. The
And
rest of
he's
these people
got
are tearing everything up.
that's exactly
I
right.
mean,
That's exactly right. He's got his
Trump
crypto.
is even getting Arab money. Wow.
No, hey, listen, he's got a private plane that he gonna grab, and he's got his crypto. He's got his crypto game rolling.
Yep,
So,
did a couple rug pull scams in that too.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he's made billions. So he and his crew, he and his crowd are making a lot of money. They're making a lot of money.
Man,
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't know where this stuff is going. We got 3 years left of this. And this is without attacking Iran. This is without trying to attempt to build infrastructure.
Invade Greenland.
Yeah, invade Greenland.
But the Republicans told him, you invade Greenland, you're getting impeached. They told him that. You invade Greenland, create this problem with all of our people here up in the north, you will face impeachment. You will.
Because it's a white country. It's just a mostly white country. You can't do that shit to white.
Oh no, that is NATO. It's like, dude, you can't just go in and mess up what a 50, 60-year alliance that people have built because you want to take
This idiot was actually talking that you have Republic because there's really a lot of these senators and stuff that are in office there right now in Washington. They hate this guy. They think this guy is a total fucking moron and an animal. They know what he's doing. They know what he is doing. They don't like him, but right now they can't pull the trigger on this guy.
But more people are announcing retirements too.
That's the big piece. That's what tells you what's really going on. People are not down with this dude. They don't like him. All right, but he's got a very loyal, cultish base, that is still out there. People are afraid of it, but I'm starting to think the more and more people see that their base is toast because of this guy, the bigger and bigger liability he's going to be. And that's
but don't worry about Nagone. Don't worry about Nagone. They got all these black guys who want to be conservatives, so they'll be fine. Yeah, they'll be just fine.
These crazy Negroes. But anyway,
who wants to board a plane mid-flight that's already on fire and hit it into the ocean?
You have these crazy Negroes who actually are sitting here thinking about doing this. The plenty of Delta. One thing we have to say, we've got quite a few Delta Novembers out here
No, MOT. We're not just bored. We'll pay a double price for the ticket for the plane that's mid-air.
That's true.
And don't wait for the door to open. Just blast them into the side of the plane. Just through and everything else.
Oh my God.
We don't even need to be in the main cabin. We'll just be down there with the cargo. That's good for us.
Yeah. No, through the rear stabilizer, right into the cargo hold. No problem.
No problem. You're good.
All right, man. With that said, I will see you guys next weekend for the next show, and it's going to look a lot differently than it looks right now. So I've been working on that for a couple weeks. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through, and y'all have a really nice rest of y'all night.
Yeah, you too. Peace.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.